Hello everybody, and good afternoon. So today I'll just be going through some pictures I took of a VCR. And how did I get this VCR? Well, a few years ago I went up to the local dump where people throw their garbage away. And at the dump there's various different bins. There's a bin for metals, there's a bin for wood, and there's actually a bin for electronics. So I started helping myself to the very full electronics bin. I won't describe the whole arrangement of the dump, but anyway, I was able to very easily pull out electronics gadgets from the big garbage bin, and I was putting them in the back of my car. And I managed to grab a bunch of stuff. One was a digital satellite receiver, a VCR, and a bunch of other stuff I won't go into. Anyway, the guy at the dump started yelling at me, and so I started packing up quickly, getting ready to leave. Well, he was running, so he ran over to my car, and then he started telling me to put everything back. I said, you know what, I'm leaving. I said, sorry to bother you, I didn't mean to make you upset. And, well, he was still yelling at me and telling me to put everything back. You know, it's a shame because essentially all these products are going to get scrapped and destroyed anyway, but it seems to be the policy at the local dump to not allow people to take things home. I can see that maybe there's a safety reason or even a privacy and security reason, right? Like you wouldn't want people dropping off their personal computers and then like anybody in town can just go pick them up and take them home. I mean, I can see why that would be an issue, and maybe for good reason, but I mean, why not allow people access to old discarded goods and, you know, who have an interest in reusing them or taking them apart? That's what I was doing. Anyway, so long story short, this is a VCR I grabbed. It worked. I plugged it in and it worked. And there's one on eBay, and apparently it's been refurbished and tested and all this kind of stuff, and it's selling for over $200. Now, who would actually pay that much for a VCR? I don't know. Do I think it's worth that? No, I think maybe that's close to what it costs new. Anyway, so I took this apart, and I'll just go through some pictures. I mean, these things are great. There's all kinds of connectors on the back. There's like these BNC connectors, RCA cable connectors, many switches, lots of jumper cable wires. It's thinner than 22 gauge. Some of it's almost useless, but lots of hookup wire. And it's true that a lot of like electrolytic capacitors are cheap to buy and almost maybe preferable to buy new because, you know, when they get old they leak and they dry out, so it might be better to buy new. But there's lots of electrolytic caps, switches, trimmer capacitors, well, really everything. Transistors, inductors, the little ones in cans. So what I do is I don't even try to desolder the components. I just clip them right off of the board, and I might use contact cement and glue them with the PCB board connected right to them. That's how I like to do it. What else do we have here? Lots of push button switches. These VCRs, if they're good for anything, they're really good for push button switches. Lots of LEDs on posts. This is not even the complete picture of all the parts that can be salvaged. I only salvaged about a quarter of the parts in this VCR and stopped because I had to do other things. But here's a good look. You know, up at the top there's some push button switches. There's these nice slide switches to the left, LEDs on posts, BNC connectors, some ICs. Those might be fun to connect and hook up. That would be a lot of work. And then there's trimmer capacitors, different types of capacitors, electrolytic, all kinds of stuff. To me, this is fun. This is actually what got me started in electronics. I originally took home a printer, scanner, fax machine, brought it home, took it apart, and I was so fascinated by it because I couldn't believe the complexity of some of these electronics gadgets like a printer. I mean, it really would have taken a team of hundreds of people to design and assemble and move such products down a production line. And it would take me lifetimes to completely understand the nature of these circuits. So it's almost looking at something that I could never completely get my head around. And that's kind of what this VCR is like. And it continues to fascinate me. And with a little bit of effort, you can have parts for free. And I think that's something people overlook these days, is hobby that you can get free parts with. And I'm sure if you're creative and clever, you could probably create some of your own circuits with these parts, even just the parts found in this particular VCR. Okay, well, those are my thoughts. I just did a shift at work. It was a night shift, and it was a rough one, and so I'm really tired. So, yeah, thanks for listening. Thank you very much for listening, and have a good day. Take care.